Hey guys, Speedoz here, and today I bring you another video about the Cyclone Part 2. If you have watched it already, the Part 1, which was for beginners basically, who are seeking to play Path Exile now and are looking for an easy to play build, you can now have another build, basically the same build but with a lot more investment, so you can aim for the upgrades now while you are progressing through the game, okay? So we've reached level 93 during the stream. First thing you want to do here is to change your Ascendancy by going to the Labyrinth, could be normal or could be the Uber Lab, and change the Ascendancy at the end where you regularly would get an Ascendancy, but you need 40 refund points. Since we, in the passive tree, we can regret the points by using one refund point. When you're changing the Ascendancy, you will need 5 refund points per Ascendancy point, which in total is equal to 40, okay? So go to the end of the Labyrinth, change your Ascendancy. Champion Ascendancy is very nice. Master of Metal gives us 2 additional Impale stacks. If you don't know already, Impale on a regular character can stack up to 5 times. With the Ascendancy, we can go up to 7, and each of the Impale stacks gives us some added physical damage as well, and we also gain some armor right there. Unstoppable Hero gives us attack speed, attack damage, some armor and evasion, while we have Fortify, and we also cannot be stunned. Conqueror gives us the chance to taunt on hit, which is 100%, and whenever we taunt, we gain reduced damage, regain some life, and we also cannot evade attacks while we have Worthy Foe, which is amazing for the Champion Ascendancy. Another thing you want to do is to change the Bandits quest reward. Previously we've helped Lyra for critical strike multiplier and 15% all res. Now you want to vendor 20 regrets and a Onyx Amulet. This way you will get a Book of Reform, and with the book you will exchange the Lyra benefits for 2 extra passive points so we can allocate on the tree. The tree now has plenty more dexterity because we need that for the foil, the jeweled foil. So we have these life notes here, some Brutal Blade, Fatal Blade, another jewel socket, some damage notes here, and this part is similar, but we've regretted some in order to have some cluster jewels. The first jewel that we are using is a jewel with some dexterity, could be some res, but with maximum life and some damage. Another jewel here is a Watcher's Eye with additional Impale. Impale is very useful to increase our physical damage. If you don't know how Impale works, it's basically adding physical damage on top of your hits, and it could stack up to 5 stacks. And with our Ascendancy, Master of Metal, a regular character can stack 5 times Impale. With the Ascendancy we can stack up to 7, and with the Watcher's Eye we can stack up to 9. You can also add more stacks if you are using cluster jewels, which we will, but it really helps to build our damage up. Talking about the cluster jewels, first one that we're gonna use is a large cluster jewels with 8 passive skills, and passive skills grant increased attack damage. Could be something else like sword attacks, and the passive skill right there is Deep Cuts, Devastator, Smite Weak, and 2 jewel sockets. You can watch right now on the screen how to look up for the cluster jewels, even large or medium ones. First of all is Devastator on this jewel. Devastator helps to clear packs because it gives us not only attack damage but also the explosion property. To be honest, in game this didn't feel really well, I don't know, but I feel like this one, Devastator, didn't really help in terms of exploding. I think the explosion chest is more than enough, so feel free to choose any other passive skill right there. We also get Deep Cuts. With this we can stack up to 10 times the Impale, and Smite Weak to give us some attack damage against main enemies and also 10% chance to maim on hit. About the medium clusters, one is 4 or 5 passives with channeling skills dealing increased damage. First one is Facebreaker and Precise Focus with a dual socket. Facebreaker is quite useful because it gives us some attack speed while channeling and immune to curses while channeling, and Precise Focus gives us increased critical strike chance while channeling, and also some very nice 30% multiplier if you've been channeling for at least 1 second. This one right here is very similar. 4 or 5 passive skills within channeling deals increased damage. We get Precise Focus, Rapid Infusion, and Dual Socket. Rapid Infusion increases the effect of infusion with some movement speed. Precise Focus, you've already seen it. And the regular duels at the end are duels that add basically damage. You could get one with increased maximum life if you want, but certainly will be more expensive. I got here some very nice multiplier, as you can see, with some attack speed, and this one also has some very nice attack damage while dual wielding. Talking about the gear, first one, we've crafted this foil on the stream. I crafted by using alterations. You can craft a foil like this or even better with essences or with fossils. It's all about RNG, honestly. But I was teaching some people on the stream how to craft a regular foil. So I aim for a tier 1, either attack speed or flat physical damage. I managed to get a tier 1 attack speed and tier 3. And in terms for the stream, as we've been crafting for a very long time, I decided that a tier 3 flat would be enough. But if you have a better RNG, aim for, and more currency, aim for a tier 2 or tier 1 flat fizz. Then we used Bestiary to create the imprint, Regal, Annulled. So we ended up with a 2 modifier sword, which we multi-modded with multi-mod, crit chains with quality and increased physical damage. And then after all of that, I used a Warlord's Conquer Resulted and managed to hit that tier 5 increased physical damage with increased attack speed. This foil right here has 458 PDPS, physical DPS. At this point of the league, almost with 12 days to the end of the Delirium League, it's cheaper to buy a already crafted foil rather than crafting a 450 DPS. So feel free to buy one if you want to, but I was doing this to teach other guys on this stream. I also chose the Savior. The Savior is very nice because it gives us the reflection skill, which enables us to create 2 copies of us. Each copy deals 50% of our damage, so while bossing, all the clones and us attacking together will basically double our DPS. So very nice, unique sword to use right there. We also have the opportunity or the possibility to use a Paradoxica, but Paradoxica is clearly more expensive, and if you get the right modifiers, which are increased physical damage, increased attack speed, some quality, and maybe some chance to bleed, impale, blind, this Paradoxica could cost lots of exalts. So it's really up to you if you want to spend that much currency, but certainly a very nice Paradoxica with the right mods and right tiers is better than a rare foil like this. The helmet is a Cyclone attack speed. The first one that I looked up in the market with the Elder Influence and the enchant was this one. It was already crafted, probably because the offer of the items is very low at this stage of the league, but you can certainly get a regular helmet with the Cyclone attack speed enchant only. I got the Elder one because I wanted the nearby enemies taking increased physical damage, so you can also aim for some life or some res if you can. And I crafted already with the melee strike range, which is also useful. The rings here, they are very important to manage, for you to manage the intelligence that you have, that you need. But first ring, you need to have one with Curse with Assassin's Mark, could be level 8 or 12, it's really up to you. But it needs intelligence probably on either one of them or on your amulet. But the ring needs adds physical damage to attack, some resist, and some life. Could be also a not necessarily a diamond ring, but it could be a resist ring as well. Another ring that could be very useful to the build is a steel ring. This is the best base because it has physical damage, 2 attacks on the implicit, and we also want some very nice physical damage to attacks, some life, some resist if you can. This ring also could have intelligence if you want. The amulet with allocated assassination because of the increased multiple critical strike multiplier and the crit chains at the Cassia NPC. And we also aimed for a very nice and big physical damage flat tier. We also wanted a global critical strike multiplier and some resists. I used the Warlord's Exalted on this one, trying to get a AoE modifier, but I couldn't. And unfortunately or fortunately, we've got the gain percentage of physical damage as extra fire. It is useless on this build because we use the brutality and thus we only deal physical damage. So it was unfortunate because it's useless, but it was fortunate because I could explain you right now in this guide that any sort of damage that is not physical, it's useless on this build because we use brutality. So have that in mind. Aim for a amulet with physical damage, multiplier, intelligence, and some life and resist if you can. A boots, we've aimed for tailwind because of the hunter influence, this green around the green color around the boots. We also aimed for resist and life and movement speed. If you don't have the currency or knowledge to get a tailwind's boots, just buy a boots with movement speed, resists, and life. For the gloves, we've aimed for spiked gloves because of the melee damage on the implicit with some physical damage to attacks, life, resists. And if you have an open prefix, you can also craft the melee strike range. You can also craft this one on the amulet if you want to. Okay. The belt is a Rizlafa coil because it has an interesting property with more maximum physical damage, which you can get up to 40% and then use Abrasive Catalyst. If you use Abrasive Catalyst and it has initially 40%, it can go up to 48%. Mine is 39, so you can go only to up to 46%. You can also use Abrasive Catalysts on your rings and your amulet to increase the modifiers of the values of the modifiers related to attack. Okay. And the chest, of course, we've used the Awakener Orb craft with a minus 15 mana cost with explosion chest. If you can also craft a crit chance with minus 15 mana cost, but an explosion chest feels really better when you're clearing packs and also makes you basically invincible against the porcupine monsters. Alright. The most important thing here is a minus 15 total mana cost because thus you can use Cyclone freely. If you don't have the currency, you can also craft on the crafting bench the channeling craft that has minus total mana cost on the rings and on the amulet. It's really up to you. And you get those modifiers by doing Jun missions and unveil the items right here. No, right here. Okay. We also have a video about betrayal on our YouTube channel. Our flasks is a Divine Flask, a Diamond Flask, Lion's Roar, Silver, and a Quicksilver for our movimentation. Nothing changed really here. If you're bossing and have more currency, you can swap the Quicksilver for a Bottle of Faith because you will have more damage, more critical strike chance against the mob, so it's really up to you. Talking about the gems, we have Molten Shell right now because our armor can go easily higher than 11k, especially when you have Fortify due to the buffs, champion buffs. We also have Blood Rage with Portal. If you want more damage, you can have an Enhance here because Enhance will increase the Blood Rage quality and thus the attack speed. We also have Enlighten linked to Precision, Pride, and Dread Banner. Be be aware that the precision level needs to be balanced with your mana here, so you can also be able to cast the Molten Shell. We also have Culling Strike with Vol, Ancestral War Chief, and Ancestral Protector. It is very important that when you're bossing, you activate only once the Ancestral Protector and then the Vol, Ancestral War Chief, because a regular character can have only up to one totem active. But if you have the Vol, Ancestral War Chief, it adds up 1 to our maximum number of summoned totems. So in that case, we can have up to 2 totems active, which is very useful, very good, because it gives us plenty of damage. We also have Summon Ice Golem, Lip Slam, Faster Attacks, and Blood Magic. Blood Magic, we spend life instead of mana to cast our skills. And also, if you don't like the Summon Ice Golem, you can swap to the Endurance Charge on melee stamp linked to the Lip Slam as the previous build. You also have Flesh and Stone with main, Blood and Sand, and Enlighten. Flesh and Stone, you know already that it must be linked to main, so we can maim our enemies, nearby enemies, when in Blood stance. And finally, Infused Channeling with Cyclone, Awaken Malefice, Awaken Brutality, Fortify, and Impale. As you may know, an Awaken gem at level 1 is better than a regular gem at level 20 with 20 quality. So if you have the currency, make sure to buy Awaken gems for your build. Regarding the Facebreaker version, the tree is very similar to the previous one. The only difference basically is adding the cluster jewels right there. So first cluster jewel is a medium cluster with 4 or 5 passives with channeling skills doing increased damage with Precise Focus, Rapid Infusion, and a Jewel Socket. Precise Focus has the increased critical strike chance while channeling and multiplier if you've been channeling for at least 1 second, and Rapid Infusion has the increased effect of infusion, movement speed while we have infusion. On this Jewel Socket here, we can socket in a small cluster jewel with 2 passive skills and increased maximum life with some maximum life, all attributes, and Fatal. Fatal here is very nice to add more life to your tree. The large cluster jewel is 8 passive skills with some claw attacks damage. We can add Deep Cuts, Devastator, Martial Prowess, and 2 jewel sockets. On my dual wheel build, I used, instead of Martial Prowess, I used Smite the Weak, but you can also choose whatever modifier you like, whatever node. Devastator gives us the property to explode at 15% chance, dealing a tenth of their life as physical damage. Deep Cuts adds 1 Impale stack to our character, and Martial Prowess gives us increased attack damage, attack speed, some global accuracy as well. On the two jewel sockets here, we use 2 medium clusters like the other one, so basically there are 3 medium clusters on this build. All of them have 4 or 5 passive skills with Precise Focus, Rapid Infusion, and Jewel Socket. And also, the small cluster are the same as well. They are 2 passive skills with increased maximum life, a flat life, and all attributes. Please have in mind that this node here has some all attributes. So either you get on the cluster jewels or you'll need to get the required attributes on your gear. Alright? Talking about the gear, we have Unshattered Will. It's a very useful shield for this build, not only because it gives us maximum life, elemental rest, and increased damage with the chance to block, but also because of the Summon Harbinger of Focus skill. This bonus here is a skill that whenever you have it active, it grants us a buff that lasts 4 seconds with a cooldown of 8 seconds, and the buff gives us immunity to status ailments and stun immunity and 20% damage reduction. Very useful to have it around with your build. He also uses Abyssus. Abyssus is a helmet that could increase your damage taken, so please be aware of it, but also gives us plenty of damage and some nice attributes. You can also use the another helmet that I was using on my dual wield. Obviously it will decrease our damage, but it will increase our survivability. It's really up to you whether you're gonna use it or not. Here is a chest with total minus 15 to total mana cost with some life and resists. You can also mix up the properties, maybe have a minus 15 with explode and less life and less resists. It's really up to you again. This Facebreaker here has attack speed on its implicit, which is corrupt, make these gloves corrupted. You can get a non-corrupted gloves or a corrupted gloves, up to you and how much currency you have. The boots here is similar to the previous one as well. It has some very nice resists, life and movement speed. The amulet is the same, it's a regold scarce. Our rings are Circle of Guilt with the modifiers related to Herald of Purity, reduced mana reservation and increased buff effect, both of the rings. The belt is a Stygian Vice with some life, some resists, and the jewel here has life and some damage related to multiplier. The flasks are the same, a Divine, Diamond, Quicksilver. He uses Cinder Swallow here. This is a very nice for our survivability during mapping, but also gives us some very nice critical strike chance during flask effect. Really up to you to use this or a regular silver flask, and obviously a Lion's Roar. Overall speaking, this is a very nice build to play. I had tons of fun. And as you may already know, Cyclone is one of the best melee skills out there. It really scales very good when bossing and when mapping. And obviously, you don't necessarily need to play dual wield or Facebreaker. You can also play this as dual sword, two-handed sword or two-handed axe. It's really up to you, and this is the beauty about PoE. You can customize whatever gear you find out there, whatever passive tree, whatever character. It's really up to you on how you find fun in the game. So this one right now costs me between 60 to 65 exalts. It's a gear that you could aim for while progressing and learning through the game, and obviously if you are a medium to end game player, you already know how to get these influence items, also the cluster jewels as well. It requires a little bit of knowledge, like I said, about cluster jewels, some crafting, and if you are a new player, it's something that you should be studying or getting to know while playing Path of Exile and getting to know the game. Okay, I had fun with it, and I hope you have fun with this as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you much for watching, and see you next time. What's this? A real challenge? Sou eu fazendo a luta. Olha que humilde. Maecon 2905, obrigado pelo seu follow, humilde demais. Why fun? What's the point? Obrigado. Will CSK1, eu sou um follow humilde demais. Que estranho, bugou, velho? Não era pra ter ido pra essa fase. Era pra ter pulado já, velho. I am alive.